Welcome. I am Dr. Patrice Berry, licensed psychologist, and here I share legal news from a psychological perspective. So I plan to do a video today in about 45 minutes, about 50 minutes on Kayla Montgomery, but there was really so much to cover. I wanted a whole separate video just talking about Adam because if you don't know anything about this case, Adam Montgomery, he is the father of the adorable little girl pictured here, Harmony Montgomery. And the details of this case are incredibly troubling. So there's my warning. Please drink your water. Please breathe. Please take care of yourself. And if you need to take a break from some of this coverage, please do. My goal is to always talk about these things from a perspective where we can just try to understand it. And this is so horrific. It is really, really difficult to wrap our minds around. And so welcome to everyone that is in the chat, that's watching. Please be sure to like, subscribe, do all the YouTubey things. Um, so Adam is currently refusing to be in court. So they have waived his appearance. So he said that he doesn't want to be, it's my understanding, he doesn't want to be strip searched each day. And that's why he's saying he doesn't want to be in court. I don't think he wants all the court cameras on him as he's listening to testimony, as he would have had to sit through this 3 to 4 week trial, hearing all the horrific things that he likely did. And I have to say likely because these are allegations. He's currently on trial for this. I think the prosecution is doing a really good job putting all of this together. Let's start with a little timeline of this case here on this site. And so please know that I have all links down in the description, but I thought this site did a really good job with a timeline. Some of the details on here have been updated now that we know just more information has come forward, especially with Kayla. So Kayla is Adam's wife. She's the one that was pictured in the picture that I showed before, and she likely witnessed all of this. His defense is blaming Kayla, like he's saying Kayla unalived Harmony. And to me, a lot of the evidence, and so the prosecution is the one putting forth their evidence right now. A lot of the evidence is pointing to the fact that Adam is the one that has anger management problems. And he's the one that was physically, verbally, emotionally, he's the one that was unsafe and was harmful. I also, in this video, I want to talk about how he got custody of her. There are a lot of, and we all think there was no way he should have ever been able to get custody of her. I think the fact that he was out of state likely made it made it more complicated, and there are people fighting to make sure that things like this don't happen in Massachusetts again. So this case started in Massachusetts. That's where Crystal, the birth mother, was, and that's where like she was involved with Department of Family Services, and then Adam was in New Hampshire. So let's break down the timeline of this. It can get a little confusing, and so I want to make sure that we're all on the same page. Let me move myself over. There we go. All right. So with this, June 2014, Harmony is born to Crystal, and Adam Montgomery, at this time, he's in prison. And in custody cases, often a person's, so even if someone's in jail, they still have parental rights. Like if you notice with the Ruby Frankie case, there was another case recently. It was, the Shonda Vander Ark. With that case, they waited until she was found guilty of child harm, of what she did, before they terminated the rights of little man or of G. Like she technically still had, now there was a probably a protective order, like she was in jail, she was not able to see him, but until someone's rights are fully terminated, they still have parental rights even if they're incarcerated, all right? And so August of 2014 to January of 2018, Harmony is removed from Crystal 3 times due to neglect related to her substance use. We might watch a little bit of her testimony because I do have that um, for us to watch. In September of 2015, Adam is released from prison and he moves to New Hampshire. A year after his release, Adam contacts Massachusetts, and for the first time, he tries to resume visits with Harmony. Then in February of 2017, after visiting with Harmony about once a month for 5 months, these are allegations. He supposedly stops responding to DCF requests for future meetings. And then in August of 2018, he meets with Harmony for the first time in about 11 months and about the ninth time in her entire life. And he had contacted them after 7 months with no contact, I guess. And then in July of 2018, Crystal loses custody. Oh, yeah, loses custody of Harmony. Okay. And later tells police she lost custody because of drug addiction issues, and Harmony is placed in a foster home. And so Harmony has a little brother, Jameson. So Crystal has another son, and Jameson's adoptive fathers, they are very, I think one of them is a journalist. They have been very vocal about that they wanted to adopt Harmony as well. But because the father's he didn't sign over his parental rights and he did not agree to let her be adopted by them. And in December of 2018, Massachusetts Department of Children and Family Services, they request a home study to be done by New Hampshire. Because so a home study, what that is social services goes out to the home, they evaluate the safety of the home, they kind of take a look around just to make sure that there's a space for the child, that there's adequate food, like they're just doing a home assessment. In this case, I wish what they had done instead of giving him custody, I wish that they had like that she remained in foster care and that she had moved there with him to then be monitored but still technically in foster care. That custody was not given to him, but that she would have remained there and there still would have been regular visits. Sadly, okay, I'm going to go on ahead and say this now cuz I think it's true. I think Adam, he likely has some significant psychopathic, so antisocial personality. It sounds like he has this long history of criminal behavior beginning when he was about 12 years old. So I follow this case over on Grizzly True Crime. If you need a place to watch this case, and I have Grizzly True Crime, I have one of their videos linked down below. She does a phenomenal job with case coverage. I love the way that she moderates her chat, and sometimes she ends up in the chat over here on my channel as well. But I have been following the case there, and so some of this I'm getting from some of her reporting as well. But, like, I wish that they didn't just quickly give him custody. And I saw a report that it might have been Crystal's attorney might have maybe thought that if Adam had her, that maybe she would still be able to have visits, she would still be able to have contact versus her other son, Jameson, who was adopted, that I it's probably because her parental rights were likely terminated. She likely has no more contact with Jameson, Harmony's younger brother. Ugh, alright. And so in February of 2019, Harmony's father, Adam, is granted legal custody of her by a family court judge, and, um and despite the fact that they never received the home study. So then what happens after that is, so Crystal has a few visits with Harmony, but then the last time she speaks to her is in about Easter of 2019. In about July of 2019, DCYF, that's what it's called in New Hampshire, Department of Child, Youth, and Family Services, something like that. They end up getting an anonymous call alleging harm, and they send out a CPS worker that visits the home and visits multiple times. And I think the worker went out about a week after the alleged incident happened where Harmony had a black eye. And I'm sure, because that CPS worker, I don't plan on covering their testimony, but they testified in the case of going out and doing the visit and maybe seeing a little red, but, and some CPS worker, I guess, noted that it seemed like a happy home, which, okay, okay. But in August of 2019, a CPS visits the home again and interviews Harmony, Adam, and Kayla. The worker notes a red mark in Harmony's eye and faded bruising under her eyelid. In our state, that would be enough to at least get foster care prevention services to get something in place. Because I also have an issue. So at this time, Harmony is 5 years old. And in New Hampshire, so I'm a big advocate for kindergarten. I think the earlier that we can get kids into school, kids that aren't safe at home, when they are physically in school, that often helps an adult be able to see. But I think even if she had been in kindergarten, I think Adam would have likely kept her home from school. Like, I think he would have hid the harm. And in my opinion, there seems to have been a pattern with this. And uh, uh. And Crystal says that she didn't want Harmony to go with him. And on the day of the court hearing, she she says that she was in court related to her youngest, Jameson. And and it was likely it was likely something related to termination of parental rights for them to move the goal to adoption, that she was likely not going to get custody of him back. And they were looking, because within the DSS system, the goal is always permanency for the child. And the birth parent is going to be given priority if they are safe. And nobody knows 100% what somebody else is going to do. And I think Boston, the Massachusetts court, did not fully know Adam's violent history. And yeah, they didn't. I don't think they fully knew all of that. And so, let's move to Adam's interrogation, because I saw that for the first time over on Grizzly's channel. I had not seen this yet, and to me, it gives some insight into his behavior. So let's take a look at this. The police have already read him his rights. He's been brought in. At this point, Harmony has been reported missing. It's my understanding that this video is from somewhere. They met with him, I think, in 2022, something like that. That's my understanding of when this video comes from, after she has been missing for nobody's seen her in a few years. They are going to allow him to smoke during this interview, and he is going to smoke a lot of cigarettes. A lot of cigarettes.
So I don't know why who's saying I can't talk to my wife, because that's bullshit.
Maybe it's some old paperwork that somebody saw.
Yeah, from last year.
Just to clarify, at this time, there is a protective order against so Kayla has filed a protective order. And the reason Adam kind of came back to the area because I think he had a girlfriend at this time. That girlfriend like ends up dying of an overdose. That people have all in the chat. They have all types of allegations. To our knowledge, it was just an overdose in a hotel. She's on camera with him because they showed that testimony I think on Friday. But it seemed like he was doing some shady stuff, and they have them on camera. But
But it was over and done with after I got out of jail.
So that's all clear.
DCYF said it was cleared up. The police said it was cleared up. Everybody said it was. They said that there was no contact order between me and her.
Okay, and that's Kayla we're talking about. Okay. Well, you know, if that's the case, then that's my fault for maybe not checking a little bit further into it, so I apologize for that. Again, I apologize for the way things went down out there. Like I said, I'm not part of the SWAT team. I don't do that stuff. If I had had a good number for you, I would have just called you in, but I don't have it. You don't have a phone, you said, right? Okay. So I apologize for that. I do appreciate you being cooperative with me. You've never given me a hard time. I know we've only met a few times, so thank you for that. Let's talk about why we're here to talk.
Tell me what you want to say.
Tell me what you know.
I don't know nothing.
Well, what was our conversation about the other day?
You said you had a couple questions you wanted to ask me. Yeah, ask me the questions.
Well, what was our conversation about the other day? Remember we met, I mean, you remember that was only, what, a few days ago, right?
in my opinion, he wants to know what they know. Like, I think he's stalling on purpose. And you're going to notice anytime they bring up harmony, he's going to shut down and not want to talk about it.
We got a lot of worried people and scared people right now in the community. I know you're worried about the well-being of your daughter, and I kind of want to get ahead of this because I don't want you to be painted as a monster.
Well, that's what you guys are already doing.
I am.
No. Oh yeah.
Can you explain this?
Everything is going to be everybody else's problem. Nothing is ever his problem. Nothing is ever because of him.
That's what you guys are already trying to do, man.
Explain to me how I'm trying to make you, or whoever is trying to make you out to be a monster. Who's telling you that stuff? Is there somebody from that I work with that told you that? Somebody you're close with that they told you that?
No.
Oh, and he's all trying to make himself the victim.
But you understand this whole thing is getting a little out of hand. Would you agree?
Of course. But
So that's why.
look, it's just the way you guys are going about it.
And again,
Yeah,
I don't
not you specifically, but
Right.
yeah, nobody comes out there like that for a second-degree assault charge. Nobody. Better arrested for worse charges. They don't come out and throw fucking flashbangs at my girlfriend's car and ram us into the fucking guardrail. They don't do that for a second-degree assault charge.
again, you understand what the charges are, right?
Second-degree assault, right?
Yep.
Okay.
There's also an endangering the welfare charge
Okay.
and interference with custody. Okay,
So how did I interfere with custody?
So that paperwork that we served you the other day, you remember that?
Okay.
When they were in the alleyway, you remember outside of on Lake Ave?
Yeah.
There's paperwork that you have to comply with. You understand that, right? We had that conversation, did we not? Right?
He also comes off as intelligent to me. Like he comes off, I don't know if he finished school or not, but he comes off as not like gifted, but like he comes off as intelligent to me.
So that's what that's all about.
So second-degree assault charge, what is this referring to?
Well, that's what we want to talk to you about.
Well, explain to me what I'm being charged with it. What the hell am I being charged with it for?
Well, your daughter had some injuries
What?
that you know about when you lived on Guilford Street.
No, I do not. What are you referring to?
Well, you were there, I wasn't, right?
What are you referring to?
I'm referring to her having some good marks.
What are you referring to?
Marks that were left on her by you.
Absolutely not. I have nothing else to say.
He didn't ask for a lawyer, so they're going to keep going.
Like We talked about how we were worried about your daughter the other day, right?
Okay.
You remember that conversation?
I remember that conversation, but right off the rip, with the way you're approaching the conversation, you guys are completely out of line. So,
Me?
Yeah.
Do I, in the time you've known me, which
what
is,
you just said to me, you guys are completely out of line.
okay, but so explain to me, how are we out of line?
I have nothing to explain.
Okay, but wouldn't you rather explain it so we can make sense of it than just have other people's side of the story? Like, you want to defend yourself and like this picture people are painting of you, now's your chance, man. Defend
Whose side of the story? Who's telling you these things?
people that were close to you.
Obviously not.
Well, maybe at the time, maybe not anymore.
Yeah.
I mean, you saw that reward on the news, right?
No, I did not.
Do you know that the reward is about $40,000 to find where your daughter is right now?
Okay.
When you start throwing money around like that, people come out of the woodwork that you would never expect to do.
Okay.
So, like I said, when I talked to you a few days ago,
Can I have another cigarette?
sure, I kind of told you this thing was going to get a lot bigger.
That's not right.
And we wanted to get ahead of it.
But you're sitting there telling me that right off the rip that there was something wrong with my daughter because of me. No, that's bullshit.
Okay. So if your daughter had marks on her at some point when you lived over there,
As
how would you explain those?
How was she got those marks?
Well, I would love to know when the marks were there because DCYF came to my house multiple times.
Okay. And we know that they came there.
Right. And closed the case.
Okay. Do we know that DCYF is the flagship agency in the country?
No, but if there was significant marks like you're referring to, I believe they would have flagged something at that point, and they would have said,
Wow. Dude, really? 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 Like he is something. And y'all know I try to stay non-judgmental. I try to stay neutral. When it comes to kids, I can't. Like this is and the things that he allegedly harmed her for was typical child behavior. So for anyone that doesn't know, because they're going to get into it, I will play the uncle's testimony where he's going to talk about the mark with Harmony, because the things that he did, she was 5 years old. And 5-year-olds, they're going to, especially if you're homeless, they are going to have accidents. Like they are going to have like things are going to happen. So my child, he's 6 years old, and every now and then he might, like, especially if he waits too long. Now it doesn't happen often because kids can also have medical issues why they have accidents, but also trauma and stress can trigger. And I think Harmony's was likely because of trauma and stress, and she was likely terrified of him, but she didn't know him. And I'm just those last that last bit of that poor baby's life, because she had a foster family that adored her. Her mother wasn't in a place to be able to have her full time. There was an adoptive family that loved her. And so the one thing I just want to make sure that people know as they remember Harmony, she was loved, and this was, okay, I'm going to point opposite. This was not love. This, all that he did, it was only for him. And that's what kind of gives me some of those like narcissistic vibes, because if she wasn't doing what he wanted her to do, that's when he would get angry, and that's when he would attack. I've talked about on here before that narcissists love from their lens. They love from where, like, they can't they can't see it from the other person's perspective. They can't see how it's hard for them. How, and I also heard that at the time of, like, they're thinking that she might have possibly been underweight, that she might have the ugh. like, it's just this case is so hard. If you need to take a break, please take a break. If you need to check out some of my non-court related content, please know I have that as well. For any of the people on replay that want to hear this without my lovely interruptions, please know all the links are down in the description.
Said something, they wouldn't have came there and seen that the kids were well taken care of. All the kids loved being at the house with me.
So let me tell you about what second degree assault is. Because there's a lot that encompasses that charge. Basically, if there's a mark on a kid that's under a certain age, it constitutes second degree assault. Although it is a felony, which sounds extremely intimidating, it doesn't mean that somebody got their head bashed in or they got cut up or whatever. So although it sounds pretty intimidating, the charge, I understand that. What we're talking about doesn't mean that it's the craziest crime that's ever been committed. Do you understand what I mean?
Okay.
So somebody could have a bruise or a really bad welt on them. And
I'm going to fast
that
forward
would come
past this
from
part. YouTube isn't going to like any of that part.
Inflicted because of me.
We're just going on what we hear. You're not telling us how it happened, so we're going with what we have.
But I don't even know what you're referring to. What are you referring to?
Your daughter had a mark on her face that people, multiple people, have told us was inflicted by you.
Multiple people that weren't even living with us at the time.
Well, there was enough people that had spoken about it.
Yeah.
People share knowledge of what they know.
So somebody, you telling him, and then he tells you, and then he tells you. So something that just
No,
gets passed down the line.
It's yeah. I'm not talking about like a game of telephone here. I'm saying that people say a story and then the details kind of fill themselves in, like corroborate. Do you know what the word corroborate means?
Of course I do.
Okay. You're a smart guy. I'm not trying to insult your intelligence, but when people.
And I think the detective knows, because when they're stroking his ego a little bit and when they're kind of being so bad cop, I don't think would work with him. When they're kind of being kind with him, like, hey, let's just tell your side. We just want to hear what you have to say. When they are stroking his ego, he talks until they bring up Harmony, and then he shuts down again. Um, uh, I think substances was a part of it. I don't think it was all of it. So I think even sober, he likely has a temper. I think he has problems. I think and not like he's a violent person. He's not a safe person. I think even sober. I don't think substances were all of it. Yes, I do think that I don't think he knew like what appropriate developmental levels were. I don't know, because I think Crystal, the birth mother, she was made to take classes because he technically didn't lose custody of her. He never had physical or like he had never had her full time. I don't think the court made him jump through the same hoops that they made Crystal jump through. He should have been made to do a parenting class. But I still think he's good at putting on a mask. He's good at pretending in front of people. We still could have ended up here even if he had taken a parenting class. I think that might have helped because so let's get to the uncle. If y'all want to check out the rest of it, it just gets worse. Like it doesn't. Okay, let me skip ahead. Let's skip ahead a little bit, and let's skip ahead a little bit. They're going to dig in deeper about Harmony. So let's see where this
Okay.
is.
Well, I'm telling you that I didn't say that. But if you want to believe it, that's fine.
I mean, she never had no reason to lie to me.
So they're saying that his girlfriend, or he said, so Adam said that his girlfriend, like that they had said something bad about him to her. And the girlfriend at the time, I forget her name. Y'all know me in names. Ooh. But the girlfriend at the time, the one who passed of the drug overdose, she was not aware that he had a daughter named Harmony.
I don't know what she would lie about at that point.
She also told me she had no idea that you had a daughter, so I guess we could say the same thing about you telling her that.
But well,
right?
She knew I had a daughter. I mean, I have had one with Kayla, so she knew I had a daughter.
She didn't know about Harmony.
She knew I had other kids.
She told me she had no idea that you ever like lived
He's such a liar because like he's skirting around the question without actually answering it. In my opinion, I guess, if I need to say that.
with her and that you like barely knew her. I don't know if she was lying to me because or whatever. I have no idea. I don't know her. I know you better than her, so that's what I'm saying. So Christina takes you guys in and she's doing all right, and then would you guys move over to Union Street after that? Is that when you guys get that spot?
Nope, we go to the shelter.
And that's the one on
Like,
okay.
Who's we? Who went to the shelter? They allowed you to go as a family to the shelter?
Because Harmony did not go to she was not alive they were living in the car when he allegedly did what he did to Harmony. So, like the other officer, yes. Great question.
Okay.
See, I thought they didn't like guys there for some reason.
they always let guys there. They didn't let me in there this time for no reason. The reason was bullshit, because I would have been there with Kayla again.
So back then they let you in there,
Oh yeah.
and it was all of you guys. Like it was the 5 of you. They let you guys stay there.
No. All right, see, yeah, you guys are just.
I'm trying to understand. I don't know your timeline of life, man. You're there. I'm not. That's why I'm trying to ask you these questions to
Look,
clarify them.
I already told you the other day what transpired. So we didn't even go to her mother's house.
Okay. Who didn't go to her mother's house?
Harmony was all.
Okay, so Harmony didn't go to.
So I feel like he almost wanted to say Harmony was already like to me, it was almost I'm gonna rewind that part because it was almost like he was gonna say Harmony was already dead. Like to me, that was almost what or Harmony was already gone. Harmony was already like it seemed like that's what they were gonna say. I'm gonna rewind it. Y'all tell me what y'all think he might have almost said.
Transpired. So we didn't even go to her mother's house.
Okay. Who didn't go to her mother's house?
Harmony was all.
Okay, so Harmony didn't go to Chris's house. So explain to me how she didn't end up going to Chris's house.
I've already explained this to you.
Okay.
Well, there's some discrepancies between what you're telling us and what other people are telling us. You're saying you brought her down to Mass, that somebody said she came up from Mass.
I never once said I brought it down to Mass.
What did you say? She came up here to get her?
I never once said. I was audio and video recording the other day. I never once said I went down to Mass.
So you're saying that she came up from Mass?
I'm not saying anything else.
And then I think at some point he does lawyer up. I want to address some because I think Mama Bear had a really good question about why he was given custody. So there was no guardian ad litem. So in Virginia, we have guardian ad litems. That's where there is an attorney that represents the child's best interest, but that isn't for the child, the mom, the dad. It is the child's best interest. And they are supposed to be neutral and they're supposed to be able to take a versus a lawyer talking to Harmony and saying, do you want to live with your dad or do you want to be adopted? Because like any little kid, because they understand like what mom, dad, like any little kid is going to be like, oh, like that's my dad. They're going to make me a Minnie Mouse room. Like any little kid is going to say, I want to be with them. Like a 5-year-old is not old enough in Virginia to be able to come into court and give their opinion. And Harmony didn't give her opinion. It's my understanding that the lawyer kind of that there was a lawyer assigned for her, but it wasn't a guardian ad litem. It wasn't that neutral attorney that's paid for by the state. So Crystal had an attorney, Adam had an attorney, and Massachusetts was not aware of his past. And honestly, I don't think they dug deep enough. I think they were kind of done with it. Honestly, it seems like they were just kind of done. I don't know that for sure. People, I feel like social workers should get paid a lot more money. So social workers pay is sometimes between like maybe 40,000 to maybe like if you're a supervisor or something, maybe like they are not, it's pay that's similar to teachers. I think teachers should also be paid a lot better. But it was cold, especially in New Hampshire in December. They were able to make it work, but he was physically her on a regular basis. And I just can't. I just can't. Um, and I know that her mom lives with a lot of guilt. I know the uncle. So I want to hear the uncle's testimony. We are going to play that next. And then we are going to move over to Kayla, and that stream is going to switch because at 2 o'clock, I have another stream scheduled. You should be redirected there, and I will let y'all know when we are shifting over. But let's hear what the uncle has to say. His testimony is heartbreaking. I think he has a lot of regrets, and he did everything he could. So he did not do anything wrong. He made the call to DSS. He told everybody he could. He did everything that he possibly could, and I hope that he knows that. You can just see how painful it is for him to talk about this. So this is Adam's uncle. All right.
Let me ask you, when you got home, did you see Harmony there?
I did.
Where did you see her?
I seen her standing in the kitchen.
And when you saw her in the kitchen, how did she look to you?
She had a black eye.
Can you describe it for us? How did the black eye look?
Full, like a raccoon's eye, black and blue.
Black and blue?
Yes,
And when you say full, what do you mean by full? Can you give us a good
all the
example?
way around.
All the way around. And I see just there you were pointing to your right eye. Did you see it on her right eye?
I'm going to fast forward.
I honestly can't recall, but I think the left.
Okay. You think the left. Okay. I appreciate that for your honesty there. You said you saw her in the kitchen with this black eye?
Yes,
Okay. So when you saw her in the kitchen with this black eye, what, if anything, did you say? It's okay. Take your time.
something along the words of, "Oh my fucking God, what did you do, Harmony?"
And who answered that question?
My nephew Adam,
Where was he?
standing right behind.
Y'all know all the trigger warnings for physical harm to a child. Okay, all the warnings.
her.
And what did Adam say?
She didn't do anything. I bashed her around the fucking house.
Did Harmony ever say anything in response to the question, or just Adam saying, I bashed her around the fucking house?
I think just Adam.
How did Adam say this?
I'm gonna fast forward
Got
just
it.
a little bit.
My,
I mean, I'll go back.
to the best of my ability, to be like a cocky son of a bitch.
Cocky SOB. Like that is a great description of Adam, in my opinion, and his uncles as well. monster as
Did
well.
Adam tell you why he bashed her around the house and caused the black eye?
He did.
What did he say?
He said he was in the bathroom moving his bowels and that he put Harmony in charge to watch Declan. And when he came out, Harmony had her hands over his mouth, and I guess his lips were supposedly below.
All right. So I'm gonna give him a little break. Let's just do me. So when we talked about that parentification a little bit earlier, Harmony at 5 years old should have never been in charge of watching the baby while he went to the bathroom, especially if this was after. Because so when kids are being physically harmed, they might do what's happened to them to somebody else. Does that make sense? So like if he had at any point put hit had if that had ever happened to her, or when a baby crying can be triggering for an adult. And so if the young child was crying, like a way that you make them cry is by like covering and nothing. It seemed like Harmony was the sweetest little girl. She was super duper sweet and loving. I don't think in any way that she was trying to hurt or harm. I think she was being significantly harmed in that home. And I wish that she had been able to, I wish that somebody had known. And this uncle did end up calling DCYF is what they call it in New Hampshire. And he made an anonymous report. He called, it's my understanding, I think he called Crystal, which is her mother. He called a bunch of different people. I want to show, because Grizzly True Crime, she shared this part, and I have the full video linked down below. She covered his interrogation as well. And I want to share this little clip of something. So Adam has already been sentenced for weapons charges. And I saw in the chat, I think it was Phoenix that might have said 60 years or something. Like he's already been sentenced for some weapons charges. And this is what he said about sentencing.
The only consideration that I ask of you this morning is for you not to consider anything as it relates to the case regarding my daughter Harmony. I did not kill my daughter Harmony, and I look forward to my upcoming trial to refute those offensive claims.
The snark. I love it. I absolutely love it. Because Adam, please. Adam, please. Like, it's just it's very hard. It's very, very hard because he tries to make himself the victim. He just does. And so I did just want to play a little bit of his mom's Crystal's birth mother's. Sorry, not Crystal, Harmony's birth mother's testimony. So I'm just going to play a little bit of this, and then we're going to switch and we're going to talk about Kayla.
In September and then October, I know you were reunified in March of 2016. In September and October of 2018, did she go to live again with Michelle Rafter?
Yes.
And when she left, then that would be the fall of 2018. How old was she?
2018. 3. I believe 3, almost 4.
Yeah, basis.
I'm gonna fast forward.
I'm going to ask you, who was Harmony's birth father?
Oh, wait, did I go back too far?
Montgomery.
Oh yeah, I'm good.
And how did you meet him?
Through a mutual friend.
Was he living with you when Harmony was born?
No.
Were the two of you living together when Harmony went to live with the Rafteries?
Never.
What was her medical condition?
bad. The Raffertys are the foster parents. Sorry with the jumping around. I'm sorry.
What, if any, visits did you have with Harmony after she went to live with Adam Montgomery?
I had 2 physical visits with her. And then I had 2 FaceTime calls, both very brief.
The physical visits, where did you visit her?
Excuse me. Guilford Street.
Did you visit with her outside the home or inside the home? Or
Inside the home.
inside the home. Did you see where her room was?
No. He never showed me.
When you say he, who is he?
Adam never showed me. I was only allowed in the living room or the bathroom.
How did you communicate with Adam at that time?
Facebook.
Facebook?
Yeah. He wouldn't give me his number.
When did you last see Harmony?
April
April of
2019.
April of 2019.
Yeah, right before Easter.
How did you see her?
So, I was doing a Facebook video call. That was how I had job training, so I couldn't do a physical visit that week because I didn't know my schedule.
You said that was before Easter, is that correct?
Yes,
Did you see her on Easter?
yes,
Were you able to see her after that?
no.
What did you try to do to be able to see her or talk to her after that?
I just kept reaching out to Adam and Kayla and, asking, begging them to let me see her. And I was sorry for whatever I did. I wasn't even sure what I did.
I don't think she did anything at all. I think they might have been hiding because I think the less contact Harmony had with anybody on the outside, I think they were so we talk about high control groups, we talk about high control families. Adam seems to be about control. And I think he just liked, like, being able to control if and when, Crystal had any contact with Harmony. And Harmony might have been kind of sad after talking with her mom, or she might have, I don't know, she might have gotten happy when she saw her mom. Who knows why he cut it off? I don't think Crystal did anything. Like, I think he's just, ugh, okay, all right. Um truly a horrific case. What we are going to do next is we are going to switch over because I think it was Phoenix. I want to say it was Phoenix that asked questions about Kayla. So I want to take a look at Kayla's testimony. So right now, Adam is saying that he's admitting to, yeah, I moved her body. Yeah, I uh yes, like he's admitting to everything after the harm. He's saying that he's not the one that unalived his daughter. He's saying Kayla did it. I do not believe that for 1 second. That's my personal opinion. We'll see what the defense shares, but I don't believe that for 1 second. You should be redirected over to the next stream because that's what we're going to do. If for any reason you don't get redirected, just click on my page and that video is already scheduled and you should be able to join right there. Let me see if I'm real. I think I might be able to put the link. Give me a second and I will put the link in the chat because this is the next one. Oops, nope, that's the one I'm doing now. All right, so this will be the next one talking about Kayla. So I will see y'all over there. I need to grab some water. So please grab some water. I will be starting that next video in about 3 to 5 minutes. All right. Please make sure to like, subscribe, do all the YouTube things. And I hope you all, I'll see you at the next stream. Like, that's just what we're doing. Bye.